All right, welcome back to the throne room. Was that loud enough? Was that okay? Just let me know if it's okay. Anyway, welcome back to the throne room. It's your host, Alex King. We're out here for week number 4 of the top 5 series. We got, this week and then 2 more weeks after this. So we just got, we're doing college wide receivers this week, and then we got NFL running backs and then college running backs to finish up the series. And then we're going to have maybe some interesting episodes in between there as we figure out what the next step is. I have a few ideas, so if you have any suggestions, let me know. But we got a few ideas on paper, okay? So this week we're going to go over the top 5 college wide receivers as well as some interesting SEC murder charges and arguments over tacos, which is just great. So stay tuned for the end of that, and you'll hear about some interesting taco disputes. I'm telling you, these better be the best dang tacos that this Derek Tucker guy's ever had in his life, because you're hitting people for tacos. I'll give it to him. Listen, every time we have Taco Tuesday in the office, it's something special. So I could understand it. I definitely could understand it. So anyway, we're back with the top 5 this week. And honestly, I'm gonna be very clear with this week's top 5. It's not very hard this week. Probably if I had to rank the difficulty of picking the top 5 so far, this would be the easiest week. But no doubt. Like to date, this would be the easiest week. So and you'll kind of see what I mean. It's pretty cut and dry. There's a lot of big names on this list. And I get it. With college, there's always guys that are really, really good for their team, but they really don't play any, good teams. So, like, there could be a really good college wide receiver that plays for, like, Coastal Carolina or some no-name school like that, and, really puts up, 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 receiving yards in one season, goes to the NFL, maybe does good things, maybe not, I don't know. But he doesn't really play anybody. So this is sort of like the mainstream, and I get that. I understand that completely. So this is sort of the top 5 of players that you should know if you've watched college football the last couple of years. First of all, disclaimer, when I was doing research for this list, it was very difficult to weed out Alabama receivers, which is something that Alabama hasn't really been very successful at, meaning they've only had 1 or 2 really good receivers at a certain time, and those 2 guys or that one person is just a stud. So guys like Julio Jones, guys like Amari Cooper, guys like Calvin Ridley. The dude that we're going to talk about this week at the number 1 spot, he's sort of that next guy. He's sort of that the next big star coming out of Alabama. And so we'll get to that later. First of all, I want to give an honorable mention to a great guy. One of my dearest friends, Seth Williams. So shout out to Seth Williams. He's a wide receiver at Auburn, okay, going into his junior year. A baller. Junior or sophomore, going into his sophomore or junior year, I don't know. He's not graduating yet. Just know that, okay? But let me tell you this. This guy is pretty good, actually. Not better than Seth Williams, the guy that you hear on the podcast, but pretty good nonetheless. I mean, he's playing at Auburn, an SEC West school, so shout out to him. That's actually a real guy that plays for Auburn. If you know anything about Auburn football, he's a wide receiver, so he's also on the podcast. Anyway, so that's our only honorable mention, just because there's really nothing controversial about this list. I mean, it's actually very simple. Like I was saying about Alabama, there's really 4 wide receivers this year that are very dangerous, which makes Alabama scary going into the 2019 season. I mean, they got a good quarterback. He's sort of veteran. Now he's going into his junior year, and his name Tua. You definitely heard of him if you know anything about college football. Really 4 guys. We're talking about Jerry Jeudy. Okay, we're talking about Henry Ruggs. we're talking about Devonta Smith, okay, and we're also talking about Jalen Waddle. 4 really, really good receivers out of Alabama. I've been watching Alabama football for quite a long time just because I'm a big fan of the SEC, and that's sort of the pinnacle, the foundation of all college football. And if you disagree, then, I don't know, beat sand or something like that. You know what I mean? This is the first time in a long time that really any SEC West school, really any school like ever that I can think of, has 4 top guys that are on the NFL's watch list. I mean, all 4 of them. The starting 4 wide receivers at Alabama are insane. Jalen Waddle, Devonta Smith, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, guys that are literally going into their junior years, all of them. So this is going to be a dangerous passing game at Alabama. Number 5. Okay, we're talking about Henry Ruggs here. Okay. Let's just start with the fact that in the spring, he ran a 4.25 40. That is something that is ridiculous. Not just for like a person in general, but like even in the SEC West, that is an insane time. That's an insane 40 time. 4.25. That's ridiculous. And this is his quote. He says, "I feel like I can do better." My guy, 4.25 40, and you think you can do better. This dude, confident. I love it. I love it from the guy. A beast. Last year, 46 catches. So he was very targetable. 741 yards and 11 touchdowns. Baller. Okay? Really, this dude is on special teams making it happen too. Big thing there is to watch out for his speed. I mean, vertical speed is huge. And I get, because a lot of people say that, your 40 time doesn't transfer completely to the field because, you got pads on, blah, blah, blah. You're making cuts and whatever. Dude, vertically, I don't care. If you can run a 4.25, dude, you can run a 4.3 in pads, I promise. And that's impressive. A 4.3, I don't care about 4.3, dude. 4.3 is impressive. This dude's splitting that 4.25. Insane. Insane, dude. Okay? So Henry Ruggs, that's the guy. That's sort of your second best. If I were to rank the 4 receivers at Alabama, that'd be my number 4 on that team. Now we're going to number 4 on my list. Week number 4. And by the way, if you haven't listened to the other 3 weeks, we've talked about NFL quarterbacks and college quarterbacks. We've talked about NFL wide receivers. And so if you haven't gone to listen to those, give those a listen. They're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Go tell people about them. Check out our Instagram. It's at The Throne Room. And we're also on Twitter at The Throne Room. And then if you want to contact me, it's at King __Alex _ and at AKingBoss99 on Twitter. So, number 4 on the list. Big guy. He's a big guy, okay? Let me tell you this about this dude. There's a lot of people that I consider to be dominant at their position for many reasons. I would consider DeAndre Hopkins to be dominant at his position. I would consider Julio Jones to be dominant at his position. If we're talking about Texas football, Kendrick Rogers is dominant at his position. He is dominant at his position. We're talking about somebody that is just a dog. Like when you talk about having that dog in you to be like just a beast at football. If you were talking about just having that tenacity, that quiet spirit, but you're just a beast. I mean, if you look at this guy's highlights, I dare you to look at this guy's highlights and watch the LSU game. We're talking about some of the most insane catches ever to come out of A&M, ever to come out of the SEC, ever to come out of college football. In probably one of the craziest games in college football ever that I was in attendance of, so that's pretty cool. Anyway, no, Kendrick Rogers, 6'4", 205 pounds. And he didn't even play the whole season. He played in like the LSU game and the Clemson game, and sorry, that was my watch. And like the Clemson game, the LSU game, random games in between. He was battling some injuries here and there, so he really didn't even play. But in the couple of games he did play in, 292 yards, 4 touchdowns, 21 passes caught, which is pretty good for only a couple games. Like actual time playing, he appeared in 11. He suited out for 11, but he didn't play because they were worried about him getting injured further. But 6'4", 205 pounds. That's a healthy receiver. That's a healthy guy. I'm looking at the play right now against LSU. This touchdown catch, just insane. I'm talking about the dude is like inside. He's wearing his jersey basically. That's how like all over him he is, and he still makes a one-handed grab, falling down. Just insane. If we're talking about greatest catch in all of college football, this would be in the conversation, no doubt. And he's at Texas A&M, so gig him. You know what I'm saying? That's really all I got to say about it. There's nothing. What else can you say? Really, what else can you say about that? It's just you can't. You can't say anything other than that. It's ridiculous. I can't even begin to tell you how much this dude is a beast. So that's number 4. Gig them. You know what I'm saying? I can't stress that enough, dude. Gig them. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Okay. Anyway, now that we've got that on the table for you to digest, number 3 is a dude that to be honest, I really didn't know this dude existed until I was watching the national championship last year, Clemson and Alabama. And this dude bullied Alabama. We can talk all night long about how Trevor Lawrence bullied Alabama's secondary. This dude was on the other end of that. This dude was bullying Alabama's secondary. We're talking about Justin Ross here, number 8, the dude that had that crazy sideline one-handed grab, broke down the defense, like literally like made the dude fall and went for like a 80-yard touchdown or something like that. Oh, insane. And I really didn't know who he was until that game. Turns out he had 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns for 46 catches. Ridiculous. Just a beast. Had 148 yards just against Notre Dame, which is insane. Ridiculous. He's 6'4". He has a 21.7 yards per catch. Ridiculous. Dude. He's a beast, and he's not very flashy. He just his route running ability and his hands are probably the most outstanding abilities of him, and it just so happens that those two are some of the greatest things that a wide receiver can have: route running ability and hands. There's more stuff to it. There's football IQ. There's defense awareness. There's all sorts of stuff, but those two are probably highlighted in this guy is his ability to run routes, and his hands definitely are something to keep an eye on going into next season. Now, that was number 3, Justin Ross at Clemson. Number 2 is someone that I've known has existed for a while. A dude that's very, very scary, honestly. Like he's a hard hitter. He's got the dog. He's got the dog in him. He's a lighter version of Kendrick Rogers. He's a lighter version. He's probably a little faster, but a beast. He's following up Marquise Brown at Oklahoma, and he has been catching balls from Kyler Murray. He's been catching balls from Baker Mayfield. Okay, we're talking about CeeDee Lamb here. All right, CeeDee Lamb is a fast guy. Last year, 65 catches, 1,158 yards, and 11 touchdowns. A beast. A beast. Even with playing with Marquise Brown in competition for catches, this dude still pulled off those numbers, which is insane. Talk about a fast guy. Not as fast as Henry Ruggs with the 4.25, but pretty fast. So he's a scary dude, very elusive. He's a skinny guy, very skinny. But he's kind of a beast. Kind of a beast.